Lord, here's my worship. Here's our worship. We come this morning, God, on the first Sunday of the decade, just to worship your name. For you alone are worthy. There's none deserving like you. None as powerful as you. None who love us like you. You are worthy of all of our worship. Be high and lifted up, O God, in this sanctuary. And Lord, that it would be on earth, in Charleston, in South Carolina, in the United States, in Iraq, in Iran, as it is in heaven. Oh, Father, we worship you. In our brokenness, we worship you. Pour us out, God, so that you can fill us up. And fill us up, God, so we can overflow. Let your spirit rule and abide. That your will would be done on earth as it is in heaven. Prepare our hearts and minds now, O God, that we would receive a word from you. Touch now your preacher, that, Lord God, we would see Jesus. Transform our minds and renew our hearts through your word. It is in Jesus the Christ's name we pray. And all God's children said amen and amen. Come on and give God a hand of praise. I'm sure you may have gotten the word. To all of our members, I need you to hold on after service just for a few minutes for a quick meeting. I promise to make it worth your while. The Lord has laid something on my heart. Shouldn't take but 5 minutes, but I need you to hang on out here with us, all of our members, for just 5-6 minutes, and you can make your way to Sunday school or to Target like many of us do, or to our concession stand to quickly get your cup of joe and come back for Sunday school. Amen. Please join me in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1. It's a little book. You might have to scroll through the index. Don't perpetrate in here. It's all right. Nothing wrong with looking in the index. You got your word with you. The prophet known as Habakkuk. So we think that's how you pronounce it. We really don't know how to pronounce Habakkuk's name. Habakkuk chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, and then we're going to skip to chapter 2, verses 1 through 3. If you're there, say, I'm there, Pastor. And it says, the burden which the prophet Habakkuk saw. O Lord, how long shall I cry, and you will not hear? Even cry out to you violence, and you will not save. Why do you show me iniquity and cause me to see trouble? For plundering and violence are before me. There is strife and contention arising. Therefore, the law is powerless, and justice never goes forth. For the wicked surround the righteous. Therefore, perverse judgment proceeds. Skip over to chapter 2, verse 1. Habakkuk says, I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart and watch to see what he, that's God, will say to me, and what I will answer when I am corrected. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for when? An appointed time. But at the end it will speak, and it will not what? Oh, it's going to tell the truth. Though it tarries. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold the proud, his soul is not upright in him, but the just, the just shall live by his faith. Amen. I'd like to speak to you from this text and from the subject 2020 vision. You may be seated in the house. This is the year of vision in our church. And what has been less than a week, 2020 seems to be off to a very interesting, if not rocky, start. We have 3,500 troops on their way halfway across the world to respond to escalating tensions and the threat of war with Iran. And we literally have world leaders trash talking on Twitter like immature adolescents, except this isn't a schoolyard brawl. The skies turned blood red above parts of southeast Australia this morning because of the deadly brush fires. According to CNN, a senior firefighter described the previous 24 hours as one of the worst days ever. There continues to be acts of hate against Jewish brothers and sisters in New York, along with other hate crimes against houses of faith across America. And Tom Brady and Dak Prescott will be watching the Super Bowl the same way you and I will be watching.
Yes, sir.
Just saying, 2020 is off to a what Habakkuk is saying to us, And what he is questioning to God in this moment and in this text is, with all the injustice, mischief, and wrong going on in the world, God, where are you? This short prophetic book is one of the most important and influential books in our entire Bible. It is unique among all the prophetic literature in its message and approach. Unlike all other prophets, we don't know much about Habakkuk. Little is mentioned to give us his background or his context, but his message is clear. Habakkuk is frustrated and lamenting about what is going on in Jerusalem and in the kingdom known as Judah. He was upset with the internal politics of Judah for what he called the perversion, twisting, or bending of justice in Judean society. He was accusing King Jehoiakim of abusing his power. His claims against the king were simply this: one, that the poor were being exploited in order to profit the rich, which created a system that enabled the richer to get richer and the poorer to stay poor or get poorer. One of the reasons why we are where we are in this country is because a large group of people who have little are exploited by a small number of people who have a lot. When there is social instability and disorder, it is easy to end up finding someone to blame that's not really the person to blame. Those who are disenfranchised and those who are poor typically are blamed for the world's problems, when in all actuality, their reality is a manifestation of the world's problems. We have the power to do more and better for all humanity, but instead, people rather either try to keep their power or get more power. Just like in Habakkuk's day, we are blaming the wrong people for the systemic issues. The other issue Habakkuk had was this: he was upset about Judah's judicial system. He claimed that there was a failure to administer justice properly. It's amazing how the world stays the same. He claimed that the law is not working to truly bring forth justice. His contemporary Jeremiah also had issues with King Jehoiakim. He was accusing the king of being dishonest in order to gain wealth. And these things can also be chalked up to Habakkuk's problem with Judah's politics. The king used forced labor for building his own lavish residence and demanded heavy payments from the citizens in order to pay for a political alliance with Egypt. Told you Habakkuk is deep stuff. The king was also implicated in the obstruction of justice, according to Jeremiah 22:13 and 17, 26 and 20 through 23, and 2 Kings 24 and 4. The king obstructed justice because there was a shedding of blood and murdering of prophets. And Jehoiakim is even known for destroying a prophecy that Jeremiah gave him, cutting it up and throwing it into the fire in his own residence. Habakkuk is saying, King, you are abusing your power. And what Habakkuk is arguing is that when kings abuse their power, that is what causes the downfall of society. Habakkuk, in a manner that is unique within all the prophets, begins to question God in a very real and aggressive way. He begins to lean in on the deep theological concept of what is known as theodicy, which is, how is God good when all I keep experiencing is bad? Help me comprehend how you're just when all that I see is unjust. Help me grasp how I hold on to healing when all I keep experiencing is sickness and despair. Where is the goodness, the justice, the healing, and the deliverance? Why are you God? Where are you, God, in the midst of this evil world that I see? Where is God in the midst of the underground sex trafficking that's happening right under our noses? Why is there an unlimited budget for bombs but not enough money for health care? Why are we struggling with justice in 2020 and exploitation of the poor and the disenfranchised, with mental health and addiction in the state of crisis? Why can't we fix it? Habakkuk is asking the question. Then he moves to asking God another question, and it begins with this simple 2 words: how long? How long, God, I got to deal with this mess? How long I got to struggle like this? How long do I have to see my family suffer? How long? How? He is essentially saying, how do you put your trust into a just God when all you keep seeing and experiencing is an unjust world full of problems and failures? How can I keep believing in the unlimited power of God when I keep finding myself feeling powerless? He is questioning God about something in a manner that any religious person would feel uncomfortable. In conversation with God, Habakkuk passionately and vehemently questions God's reliability in his administration of justice in the world. Habakkuk doesn't even like God's first response, because God does respond. And God's response is essentially, I'm going to raise up the Chaldeans to put judgment on Judah for the evil that they have done. To which Habakkuk basically says, well, that ain't right. How can you do that, God? That's not the answer I was seeking. The answer to justice can't be more pain, God. Habakkuk then begins to vent again to God. And he is complaining to God about what is going on in society, both nationally and internationally. We need to learn from Habakkuk, because Psalms 142:2 says, I pour out my complaint before him. I declare before him my trouble. I'm going to say something that hopefully will free somebody up. There's nothing wrong with complaining as long as you're complaining to the right person. We like to complain to people who can't do anything about our circumstance and our situation. We want to call up somebody who's just as powerless as we are and vent and tell them about this coworker that got on our nerves, about this sister that didn't speak to me today at church, about the fact that somebody sat in my seat. But when I look at the prophet Habakkuk, I learned that the person I need to go to with my complaint about what's going on in this world and what I'm experiencing in my house and in my season is God, because God is opening and welcoming to my complaints. Take your complaints, take your venting into your prayer closet and lift it up to a divine God who's waiting with a listening ear to hear what it is that you have to say. Stop complaining to folk who don't even care. Let me say it over here. Somebody else needs it. Stop complaining to folk who don't even care about your complaint anyway. Jesus knows all about my troubles. That's why he's waiting with a listening ear to hear my complaint. But here is most likely one of the reasons why we complain to the wrong people. I believe the most likely reason why we complain to the wrong people is because we really don't want them to respond to our complaint. See, the problem with God, God's going to have an answer to your complaint. And he's going to say, hey, if you've come to talk to me, you're going to have to listen to me. This isn't just a one-way street. I need you to hear what I have to say now that I've heard what you had to say. And here's the crazy thing about his answer. You have to wait on it. Habakkuk vented, laid all his emotions out there, his anger and his frustration, and then he said, I'm going to wait right here because I need to hear your response. I'm not going to move until you respond to my complaint. I did not come here just to complain. I came here to be in communication with Jesus. I came here to be in communication with God. God does not respond with a boy who you talking to. Don't you know I'm the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and the Omega, the author and finisher of the faith? Don't you know I flung the stars into the atmosphere and without me you're nothing? No. He responds with write the vision. And make it plain. In other words, in order to address the evil that's in the world, it starts with a vision that comes from God. And without the vision, there is no change. The vision comes from God. It's not one that you create on your own or that I create on my own. It's not a vision that we just collaborate on and we put our intelligent minds together. It is a vision that God gives us and shares with us. And many of us have no vision because there's a lack of communication with God. Because you won't be able to obtain a vision without communication. It's within a genuine and authentic communication where Habakkuk is real about how he feels in his situation and waiting and still trusting in a God despite what he sees, that God then says, write the vision. And some of us have faulty visions or obstructed visions because they were derived simply from conversations with men and women. And people will hype you up to fail. They'll gas you up. watch you fall, and then afterwards say, you know, there was something that just wasn't setting right with me about. I didn't want to bust your bubble. You seemed so excited. And so you rather watch my bubble just blow up? See, we have to have a vision in order to deal with the evil that we face. God gives you a vision so that you can see beyond what is in front of you and press forward to what lies ahead of you. Write the vision, write it down, make it plain. Because an unwritten plan is impossible to follow. He says you can't just see the vision. You have to commit the vision down to the tablets. Think of the work it took to put a vision down on tablet then. Now you can just speak to Siri and she'll write the vision out for you. You can OK Google your vision plan. You can type it up on your cell phone or on your iPad, but there was work to writing down the vision for Habakkuk. And when the vision is not written, you can't expect other people to see it or follow it. Because God showed you the vision. It's got to be written down, watch the text, so that whoever reads it can run with it. Can I break that down? It has to be so detailed that anyone passing by can read it and do it. There are actually several different interpretations of this particular verse from its original Hebrew language. It could mean to make it so plain that people who are running can still read it. In other words, people who are running from God, running from their pain, running from their situation, running from their heartache, running from whatever the world is throwing at them, the vision is still so clear that while I'm running, I can still read the vision because it's so plain that it has caught my attention. And while I'm running in my mess, the vision is still taking me out and moving me to my best. What it also could mean is that the vision is so clear and inspirational that it makes me want to run and do it. See, when God gives you vision, it makes you want to run and do it. When God shows you where He's going to take you, it'll make you run despite what you're having to deal with right now. When God shows you who your family is going to become, it helps you to run the race with what you're dealing with in your family right now. When God shows you what your healing is going to look like, when it manifests, it enables you to fight the good fight in your health right now. Write the vision, make it plain so that anyone who sees it can run with it. Why? Because there will be times where you need to see it so that you have reaffirmation that you can run with it. Because God will give you a vision, and then the reality is going to be that everything is opposite and contrary to the vision God has given you. You committed to get debt free and got hit with a doctor's bill as soon as the year started. That's a contrary situation. You committed to get your health better and you're ready to run and fight that fight, and all of a sudden you've got a brand new health scare. That's what Habakkuk's talking about here. And what he's saying is it's got to be so detailed that there are action items in the vision. In other words, if your vision says I'm going to be a better musician, you've got to detail that out. How will you become a better musician? I will practice for 2 hours a day. I will find a mentor who can mentor me and give me lessons. I will hang out with some folk who are better at it than I am and learn from them. I'm writing the vision down and making it plain. I'm going to be debt-free in 2020. Great. How? I'm going to save money and spend less. Cut out eating during the week. Cut these expenses, and here's the plan of how I'm going to raise my household income. We are writing a budget. I'm attending the financial empowerment classes at my church, and I'm going to be a great steward over the resources God has given me. I'm writing my vision and making it plain. 2020, my career is going to elevate. That's great. How? Here is the vision God has given me. I'm increasing my credentials. I'm going to the network events. I'm working to increase my base knowledge, and I'm going to write my book this year. Write the vision. 2020, I'm going to grow spiritually. How? I'm going to be committed to my devotional time each and every morning. I'm going to press my way to church each and every Sunday. If the doors are open, I'm pressing my way through. If my clothes are dirty, I'm still pressing my way through. If I don't feel like it, I'm rolling out and pressing my way through. Write the vision. Make it plain. 2020, I'm going to have better health. How? Well, I'm sending a breakup letter to my lovers, Mr. Bojangles and Miss Boxcar Betty. And I'm going to let them know that love don't live here anymore. I'm going to send Krispy Kreme my divorce papers and let them know I've got to move on, because God has greater things in store for me. If we run into each other at corporate lunches, we can still be cordial and see each other every now and then, but we can't be in the kind of relationship we've been in. Cutting out the fried stuff and listening to what my doctor has been telling me to do for the last 5 years. Write the vision down. Make it plain. For where there is a lack of vision, the people perish. And many of us are perishing because there's no vision. If there's no vision of your finances, you're planning for your finances to perish. If there's no vision for your health, you're planning for your health to perish. If there's no vision for your spiritual life, then you're planning for your spiritual life to perish. If there's no vision for our country, for our church, for our city, for our state, then we are planning for it all to perish. And that's why God said to Habakkuk, write the vision down, make it plain, because we got some running to do. I have any runners in the house today that's ready to run this race for Jesus Christ, ready to run out this vision, ready to stand for God, ready to pray without cease, ready to see God's will done? I got to move to close. He says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, and at the end it will speak. Whew. And it will not lie. In other words, the vision God gives you is a long-term vision. A childlike mindset can't handle long-term envisioning. One of the most devastating things you can say to a child is, you will get it back tomorrow. Put up the iPad right now. You have to wait till tomorrow until you can play with it again. Because kids want right now and don't even say next week. or next year because there's no comprehension of linear time. All they see is right now. And what God is saying is, can you hold on to the vision even though you can't see it in the natural right now, because this is a spiritual thing. Let me make it really clear, and I'll take my seat. In a time where it seems like evil is winning, you have to put your trust in the vision that God has given you. Even though the vision may not come to pass when you want it to come to pass. It may not have come to pass last year, even though you prayed without cease. May not even come to pass this year, but the vision will come to pass. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will. Not it might, not we hope. It will. Definitively, it will come to pass. My healing will come to pass. My deliverance will come to pass. My breakthrough will come to pass. It will. When you have a vision from what God has given you, you can stand on the word that says, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. My grandmother used to say it like this: I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he's brought me this far to lead me. My vision is giving me something to hold on to, and I may have to wait all year long, may have to wait all decade long, but he will bring it to pass. The woman with the issue of blood had to wait 12 years, but God brought it to pass. There was a man blind since birth, made it to adulthood, blind, was blind in daycare, blind in elementary school, blind in middle school, blind in high school. But one day, Jesus came by, spit in the ground, and healed the man. May not come when you want him to, but God will. He will bring it to pass. Centurion man next to the pool called Bethesda, been sick for 38 years, 38 long years, but along came a man named Jesus, and all of a sudden his legs began to work, his arms began to work, and he looked at his hands and they looked new, looked at his feet and they looked new too. It will come to pass. I've got 2020 vision, not based on what can be seen, Because my faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. My vision sees what can't be seen. I see peace in my heart, peace in my city, peace in Iraq. My faith says peace, be still, put down your weapons and pick up your word. I've got 2020 vision. Get a vision for your family, for your health, for your career, for your spirit, man, and walk in it. Talk to God in it. Do whatever, but keep on focusing and running with 2020 vision. Write it down, make it plain. For the just shall live by faith.